Knicks fans, what's popping? We just saw another one. Fourth quarter execution, down the drain. Let's get this popping. My New York Knicks fans, another tough loss. Sad night. Of course, Jeffrey, sad night. I thought maybe we was going to be able to pull it out. Dougie Fresh gave us a little bit of boost in the fourth quarter. Didn't happen for us. KP had a snow day, huh? What's going on, Emmanuel C? Corey Williams, what's popping, man? Here we go again with another disappointment. You know, at some point, somehow, some way, we got to learn how to pull these things out, especially on the road. You know what I'm saying? It's tough to deal with. Tough to deal with. You know, so now we've lost 3 in a row. The season's looking like it's falling slowly down the drain. We need a boost. We need something to happen. Honestly, I'm not even confident that we can go into Dallas and beat Dallas. I don't know. You say, is it safe to say that Beasley is officially our best player? I'm going to talk about that, Jeffrey, because the last 11 games, he's definitely been our best player. This is a game. It was a good game. I'll say that. I will say that we rebounded. We played better. We played with better energy, right? We played like we cared. We played like we wanted to win. We didn't play tired. Although KP didn't have a great night. You know, KP didn't really rebound. But the team rebounded. We played better. But, again, down the stretch, we can't pull it out. Even when Dougie Fresh made the 3 to tie the game, it was off of a botched play. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't a clear-cut play where we got a good shot. But props to Dougie Fresh for making that shot. You know what I'm saying? That was a good shot, clean shot. Dougie Fresh actually saved us in he saved us in the fourth quarter. You know, his 4-point play was a turning point in the game, or I felt like it was a turning point in the game. And then, of course, he hit the 3 to send it in overtime. But it was all for naught because we couldn't pull it out in overtime. You know, we've got to do something. I'm not sure, but we got to do something. We got to pull something out the hat because we're it's looking a lot like last year. It's looking a lot like last year. JJP says just one step closer to a high draft pick. That's what losing is for. Yeah, I mean, I get it. You know what I mean? You know, we lose, we'll get a higher draft pick. I understand that. But we still want to try to win games. You know what I'm saying? We want to see the development of the team. And right now, we're taking steps backwards. I understand that Tim Hardaway Jr. is out. But teams, when you have a game, when you're in the game, you know, you're not going to pull them all back. You're not going to pull them all out. I understand that. But you got to start pulling some of them out. We lost to San Antonio, lost to Washington. I get it. We had this team where we wanted them. We could have beat them. We should have beat them. Too many games like this. When we lose to teams like San Antonio and Washington and Houston, I'm cool. I get it. But when we play teams like Miami, Chicago, Charlotte, and we were right there ready to win the game and we don't pull it out, I have a problem with that. I know you're going to lose some of them, but we've lost too many of them. Sean Grant, yeah, you're right. These are growing pains. They're definitely growing pains. And we've got to learn how to win. My problem with it being growing pains, this is part of the issue. When we say it's growing pains, though, if we were playing all young guys, Frank, KP, Dougie Fresh, Tim Hardaway Jr. was healthy and he's playing, and whatever other young guys, Billy Hernan Gomez. If we're playing all young guys that's in their second, third year in the league, first, second, or third year in the league, I really do understand saying it's all growing pains. But when you look at our team down the stretch, and you got, Porzingis is a young guy, but you got Mike Beasley, right? You got Jarrett Jack. Dougie Fresh is a young guy. Sometimes you got Cantor. Sometimes you got Kylo Quinn. Those guys are vets, right? They've been in the league for a while. Now, maybe we don't have the closer to get it done. I don't know. But if you're finishing the game with vets, that says you're trying to win the game, right? And you're finishing with guys who you know can get it done. Now, if you're finishing with young guys, then yeah, we're growing. You know what I'm saying? Young guys means we're growing, and they're going to go through those kind of growing pains. When you're finishing with vets, you kind of want to see them start to pull these things out, especially on the road, because vets are supposed to know how to get it done on the road. Vets are supposed to know how to get it done in crunch time. If we're not going to get it done in crunch time, we're not going to get it done on the road, then what's the point of playing the vets? What's the point of having them out there? Let the young guys learn how to do it. Let the young guys try to do it. But it's another disappointing loss against a team that we could have and should have beat. And it feels like right now the season is slipping away. And maybe I'm overreacting about the season. You know what I mean? Maybe the season isn't slipping away. Maybe we're just in a bad spell. It happens to teams every year, But it feels like it to me. It feels like it's starting to slip away. It feels like we reached our potential for this year, and everything else is going to be a struggle. That's what it feels like right now. Part of it is because we don't have Tim Hardaway, though. Tim Hardaway went out right at the height of I don't want to say our abilities, but he went out right at the height when we were playing at our best. He went out. We continued to play well, but then we started slipping. If he would have stayed, would we have pulled some of these games out? Maybe, right? And maybe we would have had a different season. I mean, the season isn't over. Maybe we would be in a different spot right now if Tim Hardaway was still here. You don't know. You know what I'm saying? But the way we look right now, we feels and looks like we're slipping away, slipping into oblivion. Kind of like it's done year after year, like you guys are saying, like it's done year after year. We get to this point of the season and we slip. We'll see. We got a game coming up. Maybe this is the game coming up that can spark us a little bit, since we kind of got, I'm not gonna say a true rivalry, but a little thing going on with DSJ and Frank, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. But for now, let's take a look. Let's just take a look at the game. Take a look at some of these stats here. Miami's biggest lead was 10, third quarter. Again, beginning of the third quarter, they come out and make a run. Like many teams do against us, come out and make a run. Rebounding, 44. They beat us 44-39. They were grabbing offensive rebounds like it was nothing. We didn't do a good job on the boards tonight. So many times they've got offensive rebounds, kicked it out for three. We got to start. We got to take care of those boards if we want to win. And it hasn't been a problem for most of the season. I'm going to say that, but it really hasn't been a problem. We've been able to take care of the boards, but not tonight. We didn't take care of them tonight. And it wasn't even like Whiteside was that big of a problem for us. We just, we didn't scramble to some of those loose boards out there. You see offensive rebounds, we lost 15-8. We got them on the defensive boards, 31-29. 14 assists tonight. We didn't move the ball the way we need to move the ball. 11 steals, 19 turnovers, a lot of turnovers. We had been doing well handling, protecting the ball. We're back at it again, turnovers. We shot 48% from the field. See, if we shoot 48% from the field, they shot 40% from the field, we should win. But even though we shot 48% from the field, they still made 38 field goals, and we made 39 field goals. Because they're getting more shots up than us. That means they're playing at a faster pace, which is something that we've harped on. And so you can see right here when you look at this field goal percentage, and when you look at, you can see it on the screen. I'm pointing to the screen that's up here. I know you guys can't see the screen, but the same thing you see up here is what's on this screen. We shot 48.8%. They shot 40%, but they put up more shots than us. So they made almost the same amount of field goals as us, right? That's the importance of pace. They played at a faster pace than we did, so they got more shots up. So even if you shoot a lower percentage, because you got more shots up, you're still on par with the amount of field goals made. That's important. That's one of the reasons we need to pick up the pace. We pick up the pace, we can get more shots up and probably get them up in rhythm. And then instead of us shooting 80 shots, we shoot 90 or 94 shots, and we probably make, if we still shoot at a 48% clip, then we're at 45 shots made. And then there's a difference in the game. They shot 28% from three, but here we go again. Pace and the number of shots that went up. They shot 28% from three, but they made 12 three-pointers because they shot 42 three-pointers. 42 three-point shots. They made 12, but yet still, we shot 38% from three, but we only made 5. They shot them at a higher clip, and they made them, and they played at a faster pace. And then free throws, we shot 87%. They shot 95%. Free throws about even. Pace. We need to pick up the pace. And maybe Trey Burke is the guy. Maybe Trey Burke is the guy to pick up the pace for us. If we pick up the pace, we're going to play in a better rhythm. We got guys that can play in that rhythm. And I guarantee you, if we pick up the pace, Frank is going to pick up the pace too. And Frank, in my opinion, if the team is playing faster, and yes, he has to be one of the leaders to play faster, but right now he's following after Jared Jack. Jared Jack is older. He's not going to play as fast. That's just a natural thing. It's not going to happen. Trust me, I know, right? I'm older. I can't play that fast anymore. Even when I think I'm playing fast, I'm playing slow compared to these young dudes out here. So he's not going to be able to play at that pace. Maybe. And I still have some questions about Trey Burke and the reasons why he's in the G League. But I'm not opposed to giving him a shot. And maybe if he can come in and pick up the pace, Frank will follow suit. He's a young guy. You know what I'm saying? He'll follow suit with who's in front of him. Maybe he'll follow suit. But we've got to do something to pick up that pace. If we don't pick up the pace, as you can see from what we're looking at on the screen, we're going to have a hard time, even though we're shooting at a higher clip. we're going to allow teams to get more shots. We're not going to get the same amount of shots, and we allow teams to stay competitive, and we don't put pressure on teams. When you play at a faster pace and teams are afraid that you're going to come down the floor and get an easy bucket, that negates some of their offensive rebounds. You see, they had 15 offensive rebounds. Why can they have 15 offensive rebounds? Because they're not worried that we're going to push the ball up the floor. So they can keep guys home and grab a rebound. You know what I'm saying? If they're a little bit afraid that we're gonna push the ball up the floor, then what are they gonna do? They're gonna send some of their guys back. Maybe they send one guy to the offensive boards. They send everybody else back to make sure we don't get a fast break. But they're not worried about it because we play at a slow pace. We gotta pick up that pace. If we don't pick up the pace, we're hurting ourselves not picking up the pace. We're hurting ourselves without playing at a faster pace because we got young thoroughbreds out there on the floor that can get up and down. Courtney Lee, he's not as young, but he can get up and down the floor. We don't have Tim Hardaway there. Of course, when he's there, he can get up and down the floor. KP can get up and down the floor. Frank can get up and down the floor. Cantor, surprisingly, can run the floor as well. You know what I'm saying? He runs the floor pretty well. He dashes down that middle, boom. You know what I'm saying? We got to have some guys that can get up and down the floor. We don't have the athletes that some of these other teams have, but we can get up and down the floor, and we got to utilize it. I know Coach Hornacek wants the guys to push it and tells them to push it, but we're not doing it. For some of the guys like Jared Jack is not in his nature, and that's why maybe Trey Burke would be a change of pace for us, and would be someone who can pick up the pace, pick up the speed, but that's the story of the game tonight. Actually, let me go back. I just want to look at a few of the stats. Look at the box score a little bit. KP, man, 5 for 14. He's struggling. He's in and out of a slump. He's struggling. We need to. He's not our best player right now. And he's young. He's young, and he'll fall into the role a little bit better. But right now, guys like Beasley just have the body. Beasley has the body type to be it. And we're going to talk about Beasley in a little bit. But Beasley has that body type, the strength, the power. He has the repertoire. But I don't want to get too ahead of myself. But Beasley had 20 points and 10 rebounds, double-double. 2 turnovers, 2 assists. Jared Jack had 8 points, 5 assists. Cantor, 14 points, 8 rebounds. We're not hearing the same noise from Cantor as we were earlier in the season either. Part of it is maybe because he's been hurt. He's not playing as many minutes, of course, down the stretch, especially when teams go small. And teams probably go small by design because Cantor kills them in the post. A lot of teams, Frank, 2 points, 4 assists. He took 3 shots. He's got to take more. We need him taking more. We need him getting into a mindset. Thinking to score, looking to score, wanting to score. McDermott played okay. 9 points, 2 rebounds. We with Miami, Ellington was killing us. And it gets me. I just can't understand it. When you have a player like Wayne Ellington who's killing you from 3, and that's what he does. Whoever's defending him, why are you not sticking to him like glue? At some point, the coach, whoever it is, has to tell whoever's guarding Wayne Ellington, do not leave his side. Stay with him. Don't move. Wherever he goes, you go. Don't worry about helping out in the paint because he's killing us. He shot. It felt like he was killing us. Right? Where is he? He was killing us. He shot 16 3-point shots. 16. That's ridiculous from one person. I don't care. I'm sorry. That's crazy. He was 6 for 16. He shot 37.5%. 16 3-point shots he shot for Wayne Ellington. That's crazy. 24 points, 4 rebounds. He was their leading scorer. You know, how are we, if you know that's what he wants to do, how are you not sticking with him, right? Justin, you say KP left him open, Ellington on the defensive pick and roll open. But this is my thing. I understand what you're saying, but this is my thing here. If I'm guarding Wayne Ellington and they set a screen for Wayne Ellington, I'm not going under the screen. I'm fighting over that screen like you never, like anything. I don't care if I foul the screener. I'm fighting over that screen. I'm going to fight over that screen and make him penetrate instead of step back to pull that three. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to rely on KP or whoever it is to switch off. I'm guarding him. I'm staying to him like I'm on his hip. I'm on his hip. You know, I mean, GG Facepalm, yeah, you're right. He missed 10 of 16. You're right. But if you shoot 37% from 3, that's usually considered decent. But the fact that he that he was open 16 times to shoot 16 shots, that's what I'm harping on. The fact that he was able to shoot 16 times. And the fact that he shot 16 times and you didn't, whoever was guarding him didn't say, okay, I got to stay on him because I know he wants to shoot it from 3 and he can knock it down. That's what bothers me. You know what I mean? You know that he wants to shoot that 3. I mean, he shot. You know, I know he missed 10 of them, but overall, he shot 47% from the floor. That's decent. He was 9 of 19, right? So he shot 3 for 3 from 2-point range, 6 for 16 from 3. But 16 shots, that's a lot of shots. And that means we're allowing him to shoot it. Well, you know, we couldn't adjust to whatever they were doing to find him open. You know, and that's a problem. That's a problem. It's been an issue with us all year long. You know, other than that, you know, Hassan Whiteside, 12.7 rebounds. You know, wasn't a huge factor. Olenek, 10 points, 10 rebounds. Josh Richardson played well, 18 points. You know, Dragic, 19 points, 6 rebounds, 6 assists. Had 5 turnovers. You know, but we got to find some ways to do better, man. Especially guarding that 3-point shot. We've got to do better. Got to. You know, we can't let one guy kill us from 3. And even though he shot 37% and he missed 10 of them, the fact that he got up so many and they got up so many, like I was saying before, I forgot who it was who just said, you know, he missed 10 3-point shots. But yes, he missed 10 3-point shots, but he alone made more 3-point shots than we made as a team. And we shot a better percentage than them, right? We shot, go back to it real fast. I forgot exactly what it was, but we shot 38.5%. Okay, so we shot 38.5% from 3. They shot 28.6% from 3. Wayne Ellington by himself shot 37.5% from 3. He himself got up more 3-point shots than us. You know, and so even though they shot a bad percentage, and even though he missed 10 3-point shots, he made more 3-point shots than we made. They more than doubled up the 3-point shots that we made, right? You know, so we scored 15 points over 3-point shots. They scored 36 over 3-point shots. And then our regular field goal percentage, we scored, was that 78 points. They scored 76. So there's there's some there's some things that we got to work on. That's pace. We got to work on pace. Picking up the pace. We got to work on defending that 3-point shot, especially knowing when someone is hot. We gave up 42 3-point shots. And if a team likes to shoot 3-point shots, they're going to shoot them. But we got to do a better job defending them. And yet still, even that, if we defend that 3-point line, it's a different game, in my opinion. Even though they didn't shoot at a high clip, they still made 12. They still made 12. If we learn how to defend it a little bit better, make it harder for them to take those 3-point shots, so that they're not taking really comfortable 3-point shots, we win the game. But it's been the story of this team all year. Been the story of the team all year. So let's talk about Beasley. Beasley's been our best player the last 10 games, 11 games. And he's, we talk about KP, being the unicorn, being the guy. He's the one that everyone is, pushing to be the franchise guy. But lately, as the season's worn on, it's not looking like he's that. Sometimes he is, sometimes he isn't. Can he be the franchise guy? That's going to be a question. But right now, my question is, how much do we start going to Beasley? In that when we needed 2 points down the stretch in overtime, we went straight to Beasley. Right? Beasley came in from hurting his ankle. We went straight to Beasley. How much do we start going to Beasley? Do we need to start going to Beasley? Should Beasley become our first option? What do you guys think? Beasley has the body type. He has the strength. He has the repertoire. Beasley is he's fearless. Beasley, he can score from any angle. He can. I'm not saying Beasley be the franchise player. That's not what I'm saying, Jason. I'm not saying that we need to have Beasley be the franchise player. What I'm saying is, your franchise player doesn't always have to be the number one option, does he? Was Chris Paul always the number one option on his teams? He's a point guard, so he's going to, he's a distributor, of course. But I don't think your franchise player, or if you have, your franchise player has to be the number one option offensively, because your franchise player can be a defender, a rebounder, a shot blocker. There's a lot, there's a lot of things that players can do, but right now, Beasley is our best player. He's been our best player for the last 10 games. He's been the last 10 games, he's been seriously consistent. He's been able to score almost at will. He's I forgot the graphic that they pulled up, but with the graphic they pulled up, he was shooting like 48% from the field or something like that. Now, you guys will get me wrong. I'm not saying that he would be your long-term option to be your franchise guy. But it's obvious, it is clearly obvious that KP needs help. And KP right now may not be ready to be that guy. Because he's just not strong enough. He needs to be out on the perimeter a little bit more. How many times do you look at the difference in the way that they score. How many times do you see KP, he's out on the perimeter and he goes, but he can't really bull his way down to the basket. He has to pull up and try to bank it off the glass. Right? Beasley, he has the moves and the repertoire to go in there and boop, boop, boop and find something. I'm just posing the question. I'm not saying we should or we shouldn't. But right now, Beasley is the guy that we're depending on. We need a bucket. We're depending on Beasley right now. GG Facepalm, we say Beasley really knows how to drive the ball and finish with contact. KP is settling too much for jumpers. Exactly. KP is settling for jumpers. He goes, and then he pulls up. Goes a little bit, and then he pulls up. And Beasley, he's going in. He's getting into the cup. He's going to the well. You know what I'm saying? And it's hurting a lot of people. He's going to the well. He can also pull it back. He can also hit the three. And he's also finding open players. KP right now, he doesn't really find open players. I don't even know if he looks to find open players right now. And I'm not saying that he's not going to. I understand this is third year in the league. Michael Beasley's been in the league since 2008. So there's a difference in experience there. You know what I'm saying? Beasley's had a chance to be the leading scorer on his team and those type of things. So there's a difference. And KP has to develop. I get it. I understand that. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm not knocking him for that. You know what I'm saying? But, KP doesn't really – KP's got he's just got a lot to learn right now and how to handle double and triple teams, where to pass the ball to, who to pass the ball to, and how to handle the bump and the grind. Part of it is him getting bigger and stronger. He talked about it, when he talked about San Antonio and how San Antonio was bumping him. But right now, from what I see, I trust Beasley a little bit more than I trust KP. To go get us a bucket when we need it. I trust him a little bit more with the ball. But Justin Remedy, you say he doesn't send me in 7-3. I'm not exactly sure what you're saying. I might have missed something, but I'm not exactly sure what you're saying there. GG Facepalm, you say if KP is going to settle for Jays, he needs to work on it so he's consistent like Dirk. True. And, he's got to develop that. I'm pretty sure he's going to continue to work on it and he'll develop it and get that jumper better. But I think he's really got to continue to work on his strength. He's got to continue to work on his strength so he can go to the basket so he doesn't always have to rely on that pull-up jumper. Now, what happens a lot for KP, though, is because he's mobile, right, and he's athletic, they switch off guys that are smaller that can, that can neutralize his lower body. You know what I'm saying? It can neutralize the lower half of his body, which makes it a little bit harder for him to penetrate. Makes it a little bit harder for him to bull his way to the basket because they're switching off lower guys who have a lower center of gravity. That's part of the problem with him being 7'3". But when he gets stronger, it won't matter. And if he strengthens up the lower half of that body, it really won't matter. But right now, he's not that guy. He's not that guy right now. So I don't know. I know, right now it still looks like Jeff Hornacek is going to keep Beasley off the bench. That's what he's been doing, and that's probably what he'll continue to do is keep him off the bench. But Beasley's been our best player for the last 11 games, and I think that Jeff Hornacek needs to start taking that into consideration. He's averaging 11.7 points per game, 4.8 rebounds, only 1.3 assists, but, we've got to look. He's shooting 52% from the field, And we got to look, though, in the beginning of the year, he wasn't even getting off the bench. So there's a slew of games where he didn't even get off the bench. But now that he's worked himself in, you see he's really he's really coming on. He's coming on strong. But I think it's valid questions, and it's something that Jeff Hornacek needs to. He's got to grapple with it. Him and his coaching staff, they got to grapple with it. Well, so I'm gonna look at what you guys are saying a little bit before we move on to Trey. Just want to see what you guys are saying a little bit. Ichimaru, you say the ball movement is always awful. What are they doing in practice? Well, they really haven't had time to practice. Once the season starts, you don't really get time to practice, and that's a problem in the NBA. If the players aren't ready to, if the players can't coach themselves, sometimes, of course, you're gonna have assistant coaches and your head coach who are gonna make adjustments and try to give the players some adjustments to make. But the players got to know how to implement those things during the stretch of the season, because you just don't get that much practice time. You get walkthroughs and shoot arounds, but you don't get the practice time that you really need to go over and make and to go over some of the adjustments that you want to make. So you got to make them on the fly. When we get near that All-Star break, when we get to the All-Star break, they'll be able to make some more adjustments. They'll be able to practice a little bit. Gigi Facepalm, you say, do you think KP needs to add more weight into his legs? It would add to his stamina and players won't be able to push him off his spots. Definitely. He definitely needs to strengthen the lower portion of his body. I believe that's what he said he was going to do last summer, and I'm sure he worked on it. He needs to continue to work on it, because that's what's going to that's what hurts him a lot. It's hard for him to post up because the lower part of his body, is not that big, relatively speaking, compared to guys in the NBA. It's not that big. He can't, he can't use his butt to knock people out the way. You know what I'm saying? And he doesn't have the power in his legs to really, push people when they're trying to push him off his spot, to push back. And that's the reason why shorter guards can affect him so much. And it dupes him, in my opinion. It dupes him into shooting bad shots sometimes, because they switch off a lower guard, and the lower guard, if you watch, you just pay attention to some of the times when guards switch off on the KP, he's in that foul line area, and these small guards, they get right up into his legs, and he can't even move. He can't even put the ball on the floor to try to dribble, because they'll take it, because they're so far up underneath him. The only thing he can do is try to shoot, and he can shoot over top of them. But the problem is that even though he can shoot over top of them and he's way up here and they can't really get their hands in his face, he doesn't have he doesn't have a base under him, right? He doesn't have his feet set and everything positioned so that he's actually, his body is set in to really go up and shoot the ball in a good rhythm. You know what I'm saying? He's kind of just pulling it with his arms, and so then he kind of pushes it with his arms. Sometimes you see those shots are long, banging off the back of the rim, because he's got to push instead of getting the strength from his legs and having a base, because those guards are taking the base away from him. So, yeah, I definitely think that he needs to work on the lower half of his body, continue to work on the lower half of his body, because I know he did it over the summer, and he should continue to do it over next summer. Correct, Jeff. Spacing has not been good lately. Part of it is because of our 3-point output. In today's game, you need that 3-point shot to create space. And look, we shot 38% from 3 today. I'm not sure. Let me see, see what we shoot overall. But we shot 38% from 3 today. But we only shot, 12 threes or something like that, right? We're 5 for 12 from 3. Teams aren't afraid that we're going to shoot the 3, so there's no reason for them to guard us way out there. They can pack the paint. So while we're screaming and yelling about penetration, part of it is part of it has to do with our style of play, right? Because if teams aren't worried about us shooting the 3, they're not gonna guard the 3-point line out wide. They're gonna stack the paint. So how can we penetrate if the paint is stacked? It goes hand in hand. If you penetrate, you can kick it out. You get open threes. Now teams got to open up the floor and guard the 3-point line. You get more lanes to penetrate. If you shoot the 3, teams get a little bit scared. They start to inch out. Now you get more lanes to penetrate. So we do need to shoot that 3 at a higher clip because that's the way the game is played today. That back in the 90s, we'd be like, why are you shooting so many 3s? Well, it's not the 90s now. It's a new game. We need to let them 3s fly a little bit. And maybe it'll open up those lanes to penetrate. Because right now the lanes are closed off. We don't have that much room to penetrate. Let me pull up. Let's see. I want to look and see what we're shooting from 3 overall for the season. Going to the stats. Yep, need Tim Hardaway, of course. The Knicks we're the weakest 3-point team in the league. Well, is that percentage-wise or is that attempts? And that's what I'm looking up right now. I want to see what our percentage is, and I'm about to pull it up. Just got to take a little bit of time to find it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to come on over here so you're not just looking at me looking crazy. Let's see. We shoot 35.5% from 3. We average 21.4 3-pointers per game. Let's click on this and see what's going on. Okay, that's just our shot chart. So 35.5% from 3. I mean, it's not horrible. It's not the best, of course, but it's not horrible. 3-point percentage. I mean, the number 1 team, Golden State Warriors, they shoot 39.1% from 3. All right, we're at 35.5. So as far as our percentage is concerned, 3-point percentage, we rank 21st in the league in 3-point percentage. 3-point attempts, Houston Rockets shoot 43 per game. The Nets 34. Where are we? Dead last at 21.4. We are dead last in the league in 3-point percent and 3-point attempts at 21.4. Right? Versus we're 21st at percentage. Now, if we shoot more, our percentage could drop. I understand that. But if you look at tonight, like I showed you with Miami, they shot 28% from 3, but they still made more 3-pointers than us. So they still scored more from 3 than we did, even though we shot a better percentage. I think that we need to shoot more threes to open up those lanes. Miami, they normally shoot 36% from three. They average 31.6 shot attempts. Just imagine they shot 42 threes tonight. Imagine if they would have shot at that 37% clip. They would have blown us out. They would have blown us out. If they would have made 37%, they would have blown us out. Harry, you say we have no guard play in a guard-heavy league. Now, are you referring to lack of penetration? Because we were just talking about that and how, lack of penetration and three-point shots go hand in hand. Lack of penetration and three-point attempts go hand in hand. So we're giving ourselves a double whammy, right? We're not penetrating the way that we should be penetrating, but we're also not shooting threes. Right? What did that say? We're dead last in the league in three-point attempts. We're dead last in the league in three-point attempts at 21.4. So we're not penetrating. We're not shooting threes. So if we're not shooting threes, the teams are clogging the lane, so it's hard for us to penetrate. Right? If it's hard for us to penetrate, we can't kick the ball out for threes, which means we're playing out on the perimeter. It's making it easier for teams to defend us. So those two things are going hand in hand. Because even if you have, Harry, even if we have someone who's really, really explosive, but you got three people sagging into the paint, playing the gaps in the paint, 1 foot into the paint or just outside the box. So as soon as you're ready, as soon as you penetrate a little bit into the lane, they step in, then it's still going to be hard to penetrate, even if you're super explosive. You might get there a few more times. We need to shoot those threes. To help open up those lanes. But then we also got to penetrate so that we can drive and kick. It's got to go hand in hand. Right now we're not really doing either well, and so it's hurting us offensively. Because the lanes are open. Earlier in the season, the lanes were open for us to cut. It's not happening. We're not penetrating. We're not cutting as well. We're playing outside on that perimeter, shooting mid-range shots. So, we've got to work on those two things. Let's see. Nothing bigger. You say Jack should stop shooting, period. Well, I'll say this, BN. Even if your point guard or whoever it is isn't shooting well, you still need them to shoot. Because, you've got to be a threat on the court at all times. You got to be a threat. If you're not a threat on the court, then you're hurting your team. So, since we're talking about guard play, let's talk about Trey Burke. I'm sure you guys had, probably some of you maybe have seen the video that I did earlier. If not, check that out. It talks about Trey Burke and the Knicks considering calling him up to play, to play for the team, and what the Knicks would need to go through in order to bring Trey Burke up. I see Anthony Williams says no Trey Burke. Frank is the future, and KP. Anthony, I'm going to get to you. I'm going to ask you why, but let me get through this first, all right? Basically, and I'm sure everyone knows, we've got to either waive Sessions, trade Kyle Quinn, or let Jarrett Jack go. Now, there's other people that we could waive, but those are the likely options. The reason with Jarrett Jack, and you can find this in the video, the reason I say that about Jarrett Jack is because Jarrett Jack, his contract is still non-guaranteed. And it'll be, today is what? Today's the 5th. the 7th, it becomes guaranteed. All right. So if the Knicks were going to waive Jared Jack, they need to do it before the 7th or on the 7th, maybe. Okay. Once the 7th hits, his contract is guaranteed. They got to pay him the money no matter what happens. No matter if they waive him or not, they got to pay him the money. All right. They could still waive him, but they'd have to pay him the money. Okay. Kyle O'Quinn. They could trade Kyle O'Quinn. Now, how long will it take to trade Kyle O'Quinn? Who knows? But Kyle O'Quinn makes $4 million a year. He has an opt-out at the end of the season. It's likely, more than likely, that Kyle O'Quinn will opt out, make more money someplace else. So then the smart thing to do is trade him. Now, are you going to get a lot for Kyle O'Quinn? Probably not. He averages, I think, 5.7 points and 4.8 rebounds for his career. He'll be 28 in March. He's not crazy old. You know what I'm saying? He still has, time. He still has good years left in the league. But, that's his career averages. He probably, maybe in the next few years, he averages a little bit more than that. But I don't think, you're not going to get much for Kyle O'Quinn besides maybe a second-round pick or maybe a young player someplace. You're not going to get a first-round pick, okay? So that's the issue with Kyle O'Quinn. And one of the reasons why they might look to trade Kyle O'Quinn, because he may opt out at the end of the year, and they want to get something for him. And then, of course, you got Sessions. Sessions is on a guaranteed contract, but he's not playing much. He hasn't provided us anything for the year. Those are the likely options to clear a roster spot to bring up Trey Burke. Now, the only thing about Sessions, and I know people are like, get rid of him. We don't need him, blah, 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 blah. But are we sure that Jared Jack is going to last throughout the season? And if not, are we comfortable with handing it over to Trey Burke and Frank? Especially if we're in a playoff battle. Because I'm not counting the playoffs out yet. I know it feels like the season is slipping away. But you never know. You just never know what's going to happen. You don't know if Tim Hardaway is going to come back and we get a boost and things happen, or you bring up Trey Burke and we get a boost and we start winning games. Anything can happen in the NBA, right? If, though, we get down to win a playoff battle, do we trust Trey Burke and Frank in the event that Jared Jack is hurt to run the show? That's the question, right? And then, of course, if you bring up Trey Burke, Tim Hardaway comes back, then who's playing? Is it who loses minutes? Is it Jared Jack that loses minutes? Frank lose minutes? I mean, I guess it's going to be best. It's going to depend on who's doing what. Who's playing the best. So there's some questions, definitely some questions. Now, Anthony, you say no to Trey Burke. Why is that? Why you say no to Trey Burke? What is your biggest issues with Trey Burke? And I'm gonna open up the Skype in a little bit so guys can call in. We can talk a little bit, and then I'll go back. But I want to see what you guys are feeling about Trey Burke and what we need to do. If it were me, I would continue to shop Kyle O'Quinn. I know we can use Kyle O'Quinn. We need him. But if you trade Kylo Quinn for a second-round pick, you open up the roster spot. You can possibly be able to, you open up a roster spot so you can bring up Trey Burke. You can start to either play Billy or Noah, so you clear up that glut at center. You get to look at Trey Burke, see if maybe he's developed into what people thought he would be. Burke does fit into Horny's system. I agree with you, Ben. I think he's a perfect guard to play in Hornacek's system. He will, I think, excuse me, I think he would definitely push the pace. He can help with penetration. From what I've seen of him play, we'd have to see if his basketball IQ has increased, because I think earlier in his career he kind of played off of talent, not really skill or IQ. Maybe he's coming into his own now. You don't know. We don't know. But if the Knicks are going to do something, they've got to do it. Trey Burke has been tearing up the league, and there may be some teams that are looking to sign him to a 10-day contract. So if they're going to do it, I think they need to go ahead and take advantage of, him working in their system with the Westchester Knicks, and give him a shot, see what he can do. What's the worst that can happen? You're not using Raymond Sessions anyway. You're probably going to trade Kylo Quinn anyway, or lose Kylo Quinn at the end of the year anyway. What's the worst that can happen? The worst that can happen is, you give him a 10-day contract. If it doesn't work, you let him go. If it works, or you want to see more, you give him another contract. Doesn't work, you let him go. You find somebody else that maybe you can pick up. Who knows? Burke plays no defense. I mean, I haven't seen him play a whole lot. I don't know. And is that based on just what you've seen in years past, or is it based on what you've seen with the Westchester Knicks? Sometimes things can change. I think you've got to see, because maybe he does struggle on defense, but maybe what he can provide us offensively would put so much pressure on the other team and negates what he gives back on defense. I don't know. I think it's worth the shot, though, just to see what he can do and how he can fit within this system. You say the Shamik Shida, you say the Westchester Knicks play the way Hornacek would like to play. Up tempo. I haven't really seen games. I've seen some clips. I've seen some parts of games, and they do play up tempo. Harry, I don't believe in tanking. I've talked about it a lot. I don't believe in tanking at all. I believe that tanking teaches bad habits. You learn bad habits by trying to lose. I know players don't try to lose. Then players aren't going to go out there and not compete. It's not in their nature. But if you know that your front office is putting players out there to lose, then your focus is not going to be there 100%. You're not going to prepare to win. And there's so many things that goes into winning. Preparation, eating correctly, staying in shape. When you have time off, days off, things like that. All of those things go into winning, and all of those things are based on habits, right? And you gotta develop winning habits. Winning habits. In those same winning habits, when you start to win and things get tight, you get stressed and you get you got pressure on you, your winning habits will come out. If you got losing habits, so if you're trying to tank, right, and the team knows that you're tanking, the habits that they have, then, like I said, they're not going to prepare correctly because they know we're trying to lose anyway. You know, why do I need to watch film? We're not trying to win. Some players will, but overall as a team, they probably won't. You know, they probably won't eat correctly. Nights when they should be in, they'll be out because they know that the team is not trying to win. Right? So they don't have a winning mentality. Now they develop these type of habits. Now when it does come time to win and the pressure is amped up, the only thing they can fall back on is habits. And then they fall back on bad habits, and then you can't win. And you get stuck in a situation where the team has bad habits and can't win. The reason why you see these teams like San Antonio, now Golden State, the reasons why these teams win is because they have a good culture, they have a good habit, they have good habits, they have winning habits, they have a winning culture, right? San Antonio don't need a first-round draft pick, and they've been good for 20 years. Now, I know they had Tim Duncan, okay, and then they were able to get Tony Parker. But then after that, what did they do? They continued to develop players. Their front office made right moves. They drafted correctly. You know what I'm saying? They drafted for the future, not just for today, because they had the ability to. You can develop that without tanking. You know, because most of the time, I mean, the draft is a crapshoot. You know, you talk about Trey Young. You know, if you look at, I mean, you can look at players like Jahlil Okafor. You can look at players like Markelle Fultz. We don't know what he's going to do yet, but you know, when he was playing, he wasn't really that impressive this year. When he was playing, but he's a young guy, so he's got time to grow. You know, and like someone just said, Marvin, 76ers tanked for years. You know what I'm saying? You say it's safe to say in 2 to 3 years they could be the best team in the East. I'm not going to say it's safe to say that. Maybe they could be the best team in the East. Maybe. But you don't know what's going to happen. Someone can get hurt. Embiid has a hard time staying on the floor. You just don't know. You know? I don't think tanking is the way to go about it. Because I think you got to teach the guys how to win. And you don't teach the guys how to win by trying to lose. You know, that's just my opinion. I think you put together a strong front office. You put together a strong developmental team, a team that knows how to develop their players. You put together a strong scouting team. That's where you put your money. You know what I'm saying? From the front office. You put your money into your scouting team, your developmental team. You put your money into a capologist that knows how to manage the cap and smart with the cap. You pay attention to San Antonio. You search it up and see some of the things that San Antonio, the creative ways that they've played with their cap. And because they have such a culture and such a system in place and they win, players buy in and players know. And they say, okay, I'm going to take a cut this year. I'm going to take the minimum this year, the veterans minimum this year, so that we can sign this player and this player, knowing that you're going to pay me next year. And it's happened. Go look it up. And then everyone's like, why is Manu Ginobili making $10 million this year? You know what I'm saying? Because he sacrificed 1 year so that the team could get paid, so that they can continue to have a winning team, and then he got paid later on. And the team, no matter what his production was, lived up to what they told him they were going to do, right? Because they built that kind of culture. They didn't do that from drafting number one every year. They built the culture through their front office. That's where we've got to put our money. We got to put our money into good develop into player coaches that can develop players, scouts that can go find players, and find players that's going to fit into the system that you run. You know, a capologist that can work that cap. You know, so you can do different things. You know, those are the things we got to. Those are the type of things we got to do, and then you got to teach the guys how to win. You know, so is it if you're already if you're losing and you lost, you know, all season, maybe you put your best effort and your front office try to get the best players out there, but you end up losing and you get a high pick. Cool. You know, then you roll with it because that high pick is never going to be guaranteed to be the best player in the draft. You know, so I think you always try to win. You know, that's just my opinion. I think you always try to win. You try to put the best team out there on the floor based on your developmental track. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, based on your philosophy and where you are in your development, you put the best team you can out there based on your development, your salary cap, and those type of things. And then you tell that team, let's go out and try to get it. You know, and then you go on and you develop from there. You know, half those players that are picked in their top 5 won't even be on the same team in 5 years. You know, so I mean, you know what? The 76ers might be a problem for years. You know, they could be. I hope that they are. But they've been tanking for how many years? It ain't been 2 to 3. It's been more than 2 to 3 years. I'll say that. You know, but no, Harry. Hey, Harry. You know what? I don't know. You know, you might not be talking to me. You might be talking to someone else. I like that you bringing stuff in and provoking thought. That's what we want. That's what we want to talk about. We want to talk about those things. We want to talk about those things. I see, you know, there's a lot of guys, a lot of people believe that Knicks need to just tank the rest of the season. But, you know, I'm not with tanking. So I see some people want to move on to talk about Dennis Smith Jr. So some people are anxious to talk about Dennis Smith Jr. So we'll move on. We'll talk about Frank. I mean, we'll talk about Dennis Smith Jr. We'll talk about Frank. Just put it on the record. I'm not for tanking. I am for seeing what Trey Burke has to offer for us. You know what I'm saying? I am for that. And so let's move on to DSJ. DSJ versus Frank. That's what's coming up Sunday. Okay. Where you guys stand on it? Where do you guys stand on DSJ and Frank? I've seen some things about Dennis Smith Jr. You know, is it would he have made us better right now and those type of things? Who knows? You know what I'm saying? Listen, I wish Dennis Smith Jr. all the best. I hope that he has an amazing career. I hope he reaches all of the heights that he's supposed to reach. Okay? Ruels, I hope I said your name right. I'm talking about DSJ right now. I'm gonna get to what you're saying. You're waiting for me to admit that we missed out on Dennis Smith Jr. I hope that Dennis Smith Jr. does all the things that people say that he's gonna do. But he's not the kind of guard that I want on my team. That's my opinion. Defensively, I don't like the way I don't like his defensive acumen. I know he can score I know he can score the ball, right? That's cool and everything. But, okay, cool. You can score the ball. You can go to the basket and you can dunk it, or you can go to the basket and you can kick it to the open man under the hoop. But can he, to me, can he run the offense? Can he? No, I'm not stuttering, bro. Can he run the offense? Can he use his basketball IQ to make the decisions that's needed come down the stretch of the game? I don't see him as that type of player. I don't see him as a leader. I see Frank as a leader right now on his team. Just certain things that I see from him on the floor. You know what I'm saying? I know he's a little bit robotic sometimes. Looks over the coach to get the plays in and stuff like that. Part of that is him not being sure of himself, him not being sure of what the coach wants. But part of it is also him learning what his coach wants. Because, see, when you're a true point guard, you know exactly what the coach wants. You know exactly what the coach wants to do. Let's assume that Frank and Hornacek are a coaching duo, a coach and point guard duo for the next 5 years. Let's just assume that, right? Regardless of what you think of Hornacek, let's just assume that. In 5 years, Frank would know, because of the way that he plays and the way that he studies and the reasons that he's asking Hornacek right now what Hornacek wants him to do, is because I'm going to say even 3 years from now, 2 years from now, Frank won't need to do that. He'll know all the calls. He'll know exactly where to put people at exactly the right moment, at exactly the right time. You know what I'm saying? Because that's the kind of guy he is. That's the kind of point guard that he is. He spent time in the beginning of this season finding out from every player, where do you want the ball? Where do you like the ball? How do you want me to get you the ball? That's a point guard. That's a leader. I don't see that from Dennis Smith Jr. Now, I'm going to be honest, I'm not studying the Mavs either. So maybe he did do that, but I doubt it. He's a guy, he reminds me of Amari Stoudemire. And this is what I mean by that. They play totally different positions, I know. But Amari Stoudemire made it to where he was in the NBA from talent alone. Straight talent. Basketball IQ, shot. Defensive acumen, shot. Right? Amari Stoudemire had no clue on defense. I love Amari Stoudemire. I liked him. But he had no clue on defense. And it's the reason why when he got older, of course his knees hurt him, but when he got older, he couldn't develop the offensive moves that he needed to continue to excel offensively. All he knew how to do was kind of bull his way down to the basket. That's why he worked with Akeem Olajuwon. But it was kind of late for him because he built these habits, and that's all he had. Amari Stoudemire built his game was built from Steve Nash penetration, dipping it to him, and him dunking the ball. Didn't have too many true offensive moves. He was just so much more talented than everyone. He was able to be a star in this league. You know what I'm saying? Off of his talent alone. And that's what I think about Dennis Smith Jr. I think his talent, he has a lot of talent. But because sometimes you get players that have so much talent and athletic ability, they never have to learn the game. And then when it comes time for them to learn the game, it's a little bit too late. You know what I'm saying? That's the reason why. And I'm going to get to another reason why. That's the reason why I like Frank. You know what I'm saying? Correct, Mark. Dennis Smith Jr. is really making Dallas better. They have been playing better as of late. You know what I'm saying? But Dennis Smith Jr., when he's in the game, they suffer defensively. He could get better defensively. I don't know. A lot of times, though, if you come into the league and you're not that good of a defender, you probably don't develop to become a good defender. So I see him having a career like Steve Francis, Monte Ellis. I see him having that kind of career where, he reaches heights and people are like, oh, he can score, he can do this, but then he kind of phases out. And then I also like Frank because if you look at the way the league is going, the league is going long, right? You now have Ben Simmons, 6'10" point guard, right? Antetokounmpo playing, he can play from a point guard to a center. You have guys, the game is going long. And so I like Frank because he fits that mold. And I think that Frank is the prototype point guard. Frank, Lonzo Ball, those are the prototype point guards, size, length, mindset, and how they play the game that we're going to see in the future, right? I seen someone say that Frank was drafted for the triangle. Maybe that was Phil Jackson's thought, but I think Phil Jackson's thought was more that Frank could be more of a versatile player. You know what I'm saying? Frank, possibly, he just turned 19 in July. This guy could possibly grow to be 6'7". So now you talk about a 6'7" guy that can go from the 1 to the 3. You know what I'm saying? I think that Frank will have that ability. And that the way the league is going today, you're going to need all of your players to be versatile. From your point guard to your center, your guy's going to have to be versatile. Dennis Smith Jr., what's he going to play most of his life? People say that Frank is a combo guard. We don't know where to put him. What do you think Dennis Smith Jr. is? I mean, he is the epitome of a combo guard. And he's smaller than Frank, not as long as Frank. He has the athletic ability to get up in the air, but is he gonna be getting up like that when he's 32, 33? Probably not. Probably not. You know what I'm saying? And then what's gonna happen? That athletic ability goes away. That speed goes away. The jumping ability goes away. Now you got to play with this. You know what I'm saying? And you got to have the craftiness to be able to score and make plays with this. That's what Frank has. So, yeah, that's why I support Frank. I like Frank, and I think it was the right pick. To talk about, well, he's a triangle guard. I think he's versatile. He's a guy that can eventually know what plays are going to happen, see things that are going to happen before they happen. Because he studies the game that way. And he's a true distributing type of guard, playmaking type of guard. And I'm not talking about just playmaking like go to the basket and make a play. That's not the only way to make a play. You know what I'm saying? You can make plays just by, I pass it to Kylo Quinn because I know if I pass it there, Doug is going to cut this way. And then it happens. And you make the play. You didn't make the assist, but you made the play work. That's the type of guy that Frank is, in my opinion. So that's where I am with it. That's where I am with Frank. And I think he was the right pick. I will always defend the pick. I think that, but, I got respect for Dennis Smith Jr. You know what I'm saying? I hope that he has a really good career. I hope that when he comes to the Garden, he doesn't get booed, like he probably will, because it's not his fault. He's just, he's just a young guy trying to make it in the league. But I'm all for Frank. So, Frank and Dennis Smith Jr. are going to play on Sunday. Dennis Smith Jr. starts, Frank doesn't. right? What do we expect to happen? Do you think, hopefully, they match up at some point during the game, right? Will Frank be able to guard Dennis Smith Jr.? What do you expect to happen when they get out there on the floor? I know for one, they're friends, right? We read the article. Yeah, exactly, Gary. They're friends, so they're not going to be mad at each other, but they're going to compete nonetheless. And still, Frank is going to want to prove. I'm sure Frank hears the talk. He hears what everyone is saying about, Dennis Smith Jr. He heard LeBron, of course. The Knicks should have taken Dennis Smith Jr. Blah 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 blah. But, not but. So he's going to come out motivated, and he's gonna want to get his thing. You know what I'm saying? So I'm expecting Frank to have a good game. I think he will. I think he's gonna have a good game. I think this might be one of the games that we see him be a little bit more aggressive. Just like he came out, he played a good game against Lonzo Ball, right? And that wasn't a coincidence. Frank wanted to play a good game. He was more aggressive. I think it'll be the same way. He said Dennis Smith Jr. is going to own Jarrett Jack, and Frank is going to put the clamps on him. That could very, very likely happen. That could happen. Definitely. That could definitely happen. Azoro Media, it's the only time you ever agreed with LeBron. Well, that's cool. You have the right to agree with LeBron. You know what I'm saying? We'll talk, this year, I knew it was going to be tough for Frank this year because we all knew he wasn't going to have the same kind of production as Dennis Smith Jr. You know what I'm saying? Because Dennis Smith Jr. just has, first of all, even though Frank was playing professional ball in France, he still hasn't played the amount of minutes as these guys. He's just turning 19 years old. Well, back in July. Doesn't have them same kind of minutes. He's still, he's got a whole season to go to catch up to their minutes. So he's still learning a lot. He's a lot younger than these guys. He's the second youngest player in the league right now. Ishmael, you said if we drafted DSJ, would he be starting over Jack today? I don't know. Maybe he would. I don't think that means much. I think we'd be a worse team. And the reason why is because we'd be worse defensively than we already are. You know what I'm saying? The numbers when Dennis Smith Jr. is on the floor, the difference, the on and off numbers with Dallas is crazy. I don't know what it is now, and I can look it up. But a few weeks ago when I looked it up, Dallas was like 15 points. They were a better defensive team by like 15 points when he was off the floor. That says a whole lot. That means we complain about us not guarding other point guards and not having strong defense at the point of attack. If Dennis Smith Jr. was on this team, we'd be going crazy. We'd be going crazy, almost like we were with Derrick Rose last year, right? You know how many times Derrick Rose gave up 3-point shots when he could have and should have been there? We'd be going through the same exact thing with Dennis Smith Jr. The only thing that we'd have, is that Dennis Smith Jr. is younger, of course. You know what I'm saying? But defensively, I watched them play against the Hawks and come down come down the stretch, Dennis Smith Jr. was guarding Bellinelli. Why? Because Bellinelli is stationary. You know, Bellinelli wants to shoot threes. He's stationary. His only job was to stay with Bellinelli. You know, don't let him get open for three. They didn't put him on Dennis Schroeder because Dennis Schroeder would have shredded him. You know what I'm saying? So they put him on Bellinelli. You know, and I don't think that he gets I don't think he's gonna get that much better defensively. He'll get a little bit better, but I don't think he's gonna get that much better. Who's Mark? Exactly. Wait until Frank gets a little bit bigger and stronger. Just wait. He's the kind of guy whose career lasts long because he doesn't depend on that athletic ability, right? He doesn't depend on the explosion, the speed. He doesn't depend on getting in the air and dunking on everybody. He depends on this, being crafty, making the smart plays. Those kind of guys last for a long time in the league. You know what I'm saying? They last for a while, and I think he's going to last for a while. I hear that patience is a virtue. Exactly. You know, and you know, Dallas, they've already dealt with some of Dennis Smith Jr.'s injuries. You know, he was out 3 games because of a hip injury. He was out 2 games because of his knee already. You know, so that's something that Dallas is going to have to deal with, and they're going to have to, you know, they're going to have to watch him, and they're going to have to be careful with him because, you know, the way that he comes down, I don't care. The way that he comes down on his knees, yeah, D-Gons, or people talking, you know, comparing him to D Rose, and it's not just because of the way he dunks, but you know the way he lands a lot like D Rose landed, and he puts a lot of pressure on his knees. You know what I'm saying? He's not as aggressive as D Rose was when D Rose was younger, though. You know, D Rose was like super aggressive, and he'd get up there, and you know he'd come down on his knees like boom, really, you know, and he didn't. I guess, you know, he probably didn't have the proper training to tell him, you know, build that strength around your knees. Hopefully, someone is teaching Dennis Smith Jr. and telling Dennis Smith Jr. to strengthen around his knees. You know what I'm saying? And build that muscle around his knees so that, you know, he'll last a little bit longer. But it's going to be an exciting matchup. It's definitely gonna be an exciting matchup this Sunday. I'm looking forward to it. You know, definitely looking forward to it. So I'm willing to open up for some calls. All right, if you want to call in, not call in, but Skype in. And I want to put this out though. When you Skype in, let's try to keep it clean. All right. You know, we have a lot of things that we're trying to build with this show here. Some things that we want to do. Some type of partnerships that we're going to be looking forward to in the future. And, you know, it limits us, or it could, you know, it could hurt our chances if we're not clean. So let's try to keep it clean. All right. And let's have some fun. All right, so I'm going to open up the Skype line. I'm going to put my headphones on so that, because the last time we were on Skype, you know, we're learning how everything is working. You guys could hear the Skype sound. Well, you're probably still going to hear the Skype sound if somebody Skypes in. But what I'm going to do, if somebody Skypes in, I'm going to ignore it. Once the next person is off, you can call in. All right? But you can look for me here. You can search for the Skype there. Ruels, I hope I'm saying your name right. Thank you. I appreciate that, bro. Appreciate that. And listen, all opinions, man, I like everybody's opinions, whether you agree with me or not. It's great to have a debate. You know, sooner or later, I'm going to get, you know, two guys up here on Skype and we'll have a little debate, you know, with people who have differences of opinions, you know, some things like that. But, you know, we're working, we're growing the show. But, man, if you have a difference of opinion, you know, we can debate it all day. That's what this show is for. All right. So if you want to Skype in, you can feel free to Skype in. We'll do that for about maybe 10 minutes or so, and then we'll get to we'll talk about the Knicks in Dallas now, and then we'll take some Skype calls. All right. So the Knicks in Dallas. We've been talking about Dennis Smith Jr. and yeah, you can use that username right there. Here, let me put that in there. Let me put that in there. And you know, Marty, I'm not sure exactly why it's that one, because it shouldn't be, but you know, it is. You know, however it works, as long as you guys can get a hold of me, that's cool. All right. But you know, I had to Skype up, so as soon as someone Skypes in, I'll be ready to go. Dang, Rudy, wow, you say you never agree with me. Jeez. That's cool, though. That's all right. That's all right. Dang, I must be getting it wrong then, bro. So let's take a look. Let's see what, let's just take a look at Dallas. Let's take a look at the standings right quick. Here these guys trying to get me to buy something. Yeah, Philadelphia moved into that 8th seed. We dropped. We're now a game and a half out of the 8th seed. We've lost 3 in a row. 15-7. 15-7 at home, 3-14 on the road. Of course, that's killing us. Miami just moved up to 5th seed, 21-17. So let's see where we are with Dallas. Dallas is now 13-27. Mark. Let's see. I'm trying to get you on, Mark. Okay.
We live?
Mark, can you hear me?
Yeah, we live?
We live, bro. We are live. You're
what's
on the
going
air
on,
right
man?
now. How you doing?
I appreciate your show, man, because you're speaking that knowledge.
I appreciate it, bro.
I wish more people learn the game and actually watch how Frank plays the game, because it's remarkable when you watch him play. He's not used to the speed yet. He's getting used to it, but his intangibles is great for a guard, and that's the type of guard we need for other guards in the near future.
Okay, that's what I'm talking about, man. I think you know, we got a lot of people out here that look at the flashiness as Dennis Smith Jr.
Listen, Dennis Smith Jr. has Brandon Roy injuries. I'm afraid of that. I do not want that.
I'm with you. I'm with you all the way, man. But you know, people look at the they look at the flashiness of Dennis Smith Jr. You know what I'm saying?
What people don't understand.
Hey, my man, you probably had to turn that down in the background a little bit. So
my bad.
All right.
Yeah,
you want to turn that down. But you know, people look at the flashiness of Dennis Smith Jr. and they say, you know, that's what we're supposed to have. That's what we need. And then as soon as we get him, then they want to complain about some of the other things that he doesn't do. Frank is a good fit for us. He's a good fit for our team.
He would have been a great fit for anybody, because he's more than just a point guard. He's more of a combo guard. He does more than one thing, and then he could pass that basketball naturally.
Exactly.
Like it's a given talent.
Exactly.
It's a given talent.
Exactly.
Dennis Smith is a pick and roll and gone. He has no type of. He's like tunnel vision when I'm watching him. I watch games every night of him. He's tunnel vision. He's tunnel vision. He reminds me a lot of Derrick Rose, but Derrick Rose with him, it was more of a fervor that he had. It was more of a fervor that Derrick Rose had. That's what made him so good. But Dennis Smith, you can already see his ceiling. His ceiling ain't that far. Really ain't that far. I watched him in college. He did not make that college team better because if he was that good on that, he's very good on the pick and roll. He should have been one of the top. He should have been a top 5 talent pick that year as a guard.
Now, see what I say about Dennis Smith Jr. and what some people kind of don't understand what I mean. He gets assists, but his assists are hollow to me. And what I mean
like
by
Russell
that,
Westbrook's.
Sorta. I think Russell Westbrook can run his show a little bit better. But what I mean by Dennis Smith Jr.'s assist being hollow, it's kind of I'm gonna go to the basket. If something opens up, I'm gonna drop it off to him, right? And it's not really that he's running the offense. It's not really that he's making plays happen by moving the ball, by getting people in position, by setting up the right play at the right time. You know what I'm saying? It's just that I'm going to go to the basket and get an assist. But see, those are the things that Frank can do. Frank, I believe, can go ahead and he can run the offense. He can get people in the right spots. He can put the ball in the right position at the right time. He hasn't always done it now, but he will learn how to do it.
He's the only person that gets KP the ball the best on that team.
He does. I agree with you.
Because Jared Jack, oh my God, Jared Jack probably lost the 4 games straight in the clutch. 4 games straight. I watched that. That turnover tonight, the 3 fouls within 30 seconds against Detroit. He is horrible at the end. He's horrible.
Yeah. Well,
horrible.
I agree with you. Jared Jack. I don't know if he's won us some games though. You got to give him that.
Yeah, he did. No, I respect him, but his time is it's kind of up because he's done enough. He's done enough for us, but his time is coming up because you're starting to see what he really is now.
Yeah, and we'll need him. We'll probably need him, even if there's gonna come a time. There's gonna come a time when Frank's gonna have to start.
We gotta drop off. We gotta drop off Sessions and just bring in Trey Burke. Just looking at Sessions make me mad.
Yeah, but there's gonna come a time when Frank's gonna start, and you're still gonna need. I
like the way Hornacek is handling them. I really don't want him to start right now, honestly.
But there's gonna come a time when he starts.
Yeah, it is.
Saying? And when he does start though, you're gonna need Jared Jack to still teach him and mentor him. He's still gonna have to teach him and mentor him when that point in time comes. So you need Jared Jack for a little while. I wouldn't mind Jared Jack being on the team for this year and next year.
You know what made me happy when I watched Frank? Because I've been watching Frank since last year. That's who I wanted from the start. Out of anybody in this draft, that's who I wanted. If we was high in that pick, I didn't want nobody else. What made me happy is when I saw how he guarded Kyrie Irving. That was the number one thing that made me so happy because there's not one point guard in this league that can actually stay in front of Kyrie Irving. And the way how Frank uses the angles of his and he moves his feet. He moves his feet. When you play defense, you move your feet, and he moves his feet so great. And when he stayed in front of Kyrie, he made Kyrie have to think. Normally, Kyrie just goes. He made Kyrie think on the dribble.
Yep,
that's how you guard people.
You're on point.
That's how you guard people.
You're right. That's how you guard people, and that's what I love about Frank.
Is this a thing? Is this a thing when people guard, like when Kawhi Leonard guards LeBron? He makes LeBron think. He make him think instead of LeBron just going. When you have great players think, it's easier to guard them. It's easier to guard them sometimes.
I hear you.
But when you just have them just do what they doing, they're gonna take advantage of you. When I saw how he got it carried out, that shit made me smile.
I hear you. Hey, what's your name, man? Where you from?
Mark, I'm from Queens, New York.
Okay. All right, Mark. Well, hey, I'm going to get on to another caller, man. I appreciate the call.
I'll be here every night. You're going to get a call from me every night.
Hey, I'm with it, bro. I'm with it.
Because right now I'm going through pain because I'm a big New York fan. Yo, honestly, this shit be feeling worse than a breakup.
I hear you, bro. All right, man. Well, I'm going to get on to another call. All right?
All right, man. Shout out to the chat.
All right. Appreciate you, Mark.
All right, man.
All right. My man Mark, that's what I'm talking about. Queens in the house. Definitely. So what you guys think about that, man? I agree with him. I agree with a lot what Mark was saying. about about Frank. You know what I'm saying? Because Frank he plays defense. He definitely, like we said, he definitely. I found my assistant. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, Frank definitely plays defense. He makes guys work, uh, and it's part of the reason though he picks up fouls. You know what I'm saying? He picks up fouls because he's playing defense. You can't fault him for that. Sometimes he gets his hands in the way a little bit, but Frank, he goes out and he plays ball. I like the way he's playing defense. I like his the future that we have with him. It's all stuff that I've said before. I like the outlook for Frank. I'm glad with the pick. Happy with the pick. Yeah. Something about defense and Kawhi. Yeah. Yeah, he reminds a lot of people of Kawhi, because Kawhi came into the league the same way. Quiet guy, humble guy, working hard. That's what Frank is. So while we're waiting for the next caller, we'll continue to we'll go on. We'll talk about Dallas and the Knicks. Just want to look a little bit of what Dallas is doing. We were looking at the standings a little bit. Dallas right now is, where are we? 13-27. Um, they got a better record on the road than us though. You know what I mean? So we can't really say too much about that. But their home record obviously isn't that good either. They 8-13 at home. Just want to look a little bit about see what they do. I don't know too much about what they do. See what we're looking at here. There we go. So Dallas, they're 23rd in points per game, 26th in rebounds per game, 15th in assists per game. Offensive opponents points per game, they're 12th. So they're a team that we should be able to come in there and handle these guys. Honestly, right? We should be able to handle them without a problem. But we're the Knicks, and we're on the road, so nothing's promised for us, obviously. That Uncle Phil, you say Uncle Phil. That's what I'm talking about. Uncle Phil. You say Dallas has been in all their games late, some close losses. Yeah, especially lately. They've been playing a lot better lately. You see, Steph Curry had to hit a three to beat him at the buzzer the other day. They've been playing a lot better lately. Let's see what they are. Let's check out. See what they do offensively. Well, here we go. Let's look at this on court, off court. Haven't looked at it in a while. Could have changed. Just see what some guys do. So basically, you have overall. Let's take a look at Dennis Smith Jr. Where is he? Dennis Smith. He is a negative 5.2. That's his plus minus. His plus minus is a negative 5.2. 3-point assists. Dennis Smith Jr. 3-point attempts. I guess they attempt 19.1 when he's on the game. I don't like the way the NBA does it. I have to look at another one. I'm gonna check out another one. The Basketball Reference. They do a good plus minus. I'm sorry. They do a good on court, off court. It tells a lot more. It explains it a lot more better than NBA. But let's take a look at the team. Let's just take a look at traditional. Right now, Dallas, 102 points per game, 45% field goal percentage. They shoot 37% from three, 32.2%. I'm sorry, they shoot 32.2 threes per game, shoot 30%, 37% from three. You know, we're gonna need to guard the 3-point shot. 22 assists per game, 13 turnovers a game. You know, it's a team that is looking like a team that will be able to score if we don't play some defense. Arcade Walker, you said put Beasley in the starting lineup with Frank. I'm definitely for putting Beasley in the starting lineup. I'd like to see Beasley go ahead and play at the 3. I don't think Hornacek is going to start Frank. I think he's at some point he's going to have to start Frank, but I don't think he's going to start Frank anytime soon. You know, maybe sometime after the All-Star break, we see it. Who knows? But I don't think he's going to start Frank right now. You know, he did do a little. You know, he talked about it a little bit and said, you know, he doesn't think Frank is ready. He said he's watching it, he's looking at it, but he doesn't think it's ready yet. So that, you know, that's what we're looking at with Dallas. Jarrett Jack is going to have a hard time staying in front of Dennis Smith Jr. most likely. Let's go back. Let's look at some of the scores. Let's look at their starting lineup. Let's go back to, here we go. Okay, so they lost to Chicago tonight at home. They start Harrison Barnes, Maxi Kleber, Dirk is at center, Wesley Matthews, and Dennis Smith Jr. Let's see what Dennis do tonight. He had 15 points, 5 turnovers, 7 assists. Wesley Matthews, he's been playing well lately. So, you know, Courtney Lee is definitely going to be on Matthews. Jarrett Jack is going to be on Dennis Smith Jr. Cantor shouldn't really have a problem guarding Dirk Nowitzki. You know, Dirk, of course, we know Dirk can shoot the ball from the perimeter, but he's not that much of a threat in his older age. I think that he's so Cantor shouldn't really have a problem. Max Kleber, he'll probably be on KP. KP, I don't know much about this guy Maxi, but you know what, he had 8 points, 3 rebounds. Well, Dirk had 19 tonight. Then you got Harrison Barnes. Thomas will be on Harrison Barnes. You know, I think that Beasley should be able to have a decent game. You know, it'll be a good, if he's on Harrison Barnes, that, you know, that'll be a good matchup. That'll be a good matchup right there. Overall, it's a game that we should win. You know, it's definitely a game that we should win. It's a game that, you know, we can try to, you know, go on the road, get us a win, and try to start rebuilding again. Listen, we're 3 games below 500. We started the season 3 games below 500. I don't see any reason. Well, I'm not going to say that. I do see a reason why we can't get it back. I want to see if we have the cojones to go get it back and bring it back. You know what I'm saying? You know, can we fight through being tired? Can we fight through the struggles of being on the road? You know, now if we're a team that's going to be strong, then now is the time we got to man up. You know, now is the time. You know, we got to man up. We got to show that mental toughness, and we got to go out there and try to fight through this part of the season. You know, the roughest part of our season. We got to fight through it, bring it back, try to stay at that 500 level, and then when the schedule lightens up, you know, make that playoff push. You know what I'm saying? But here's a point in the season where we got to man up and we got to show if we are mentally tough, it's time to show it. It's time to show it right now. Cruz, I'm assuming you're talking about Hardaway. Said not playing but cleared the run. Yeah, and you know he was working out a little bit. You know, hopefully we get Hardaway back by the end of the month. It'll be a big relief for us. Marty, you say play Noah because we need the energy. Yeah, we do. Yeah. Who's Mark? You say KP. Just KP gotta just go, but he doesn't get the calls that he should get. Yeah, sometimes he don't. Sometimes he doesn't. But KP, if he goes to the basket a little bit more aggressive, he'll get the calls. Anybody else trying to Skype in? I only got a few. I'm going to be on for about 10 more minutes, man. So if you want to Skype in, now's the time to get it in. You said Noah is worse than Dirk right now. Well, you know, I mean, D Guns, you say KP got injured and started getting tired right after hooking up with that model. Hey, you know, I guess you gotta do what you gotta do. Then you know what I'm saying. You could be right though, brother. You could be right. Well, if we don't have any more calls, I'm gonna go ahead and call this one tonight. Then, I do want to remind everybody check out the website. Okay, I'm gonna put that in here. Put that up in the chat. Make sure I got that spell right. Check out the website. We got a form on there, so we like to get people in the website on the form. You know what I'm saying? I am if you have. I want to remind every people. I'm always reminding everyone. If you have videos, if you have music and things like that. I'm still working out how to get I can get the music in right now, but there's a hiss behind it, and I don't want to have a hiss. You know what I'm saying? So sooner or later, I'm gonna get it cleared up so that I don't have the hiss in there, and it's nice and clear, and I have some music playing in the background, so I'm not just boring you with my voice. You know what I mean? I have some nice music playing in the background, kind of like I did in the last video, right? But check out the website. Definitely check out the website. Sooner or later, I'm going to have some things up there so you can purchase some tickets and some things like that. Some people I know don't want to get on Skype. I'm also working on getting a phone number and getting it hooked up so you can call in that way as well, and you can talk that way. So hopefully I can have that by Sunday. We'll see. I'm not sure, but maybe we'll have that by Sunday. So I'm working on a lot of things. I'm glad you guys appreciate that, DR Kid. I'm glad you guys are sticking with me while we're working out the kinks, because we're going to build this thing up to have, we're going to build this thing up to be up here. You know what I'm saying? But continue to check that website. Get on the website, because I'm going to be, sooner or later, we're going to have some events so we can meet up, go to some games together, do some things like that. You know, we're going to have, we're going to have some fun. And we're going to start having some segments on here. You know, different kind of segments. Right now, you know, we're filling things out on the way things go, but we're going to have some segments. And we got a lot of things popping. I'm glad you guys are supporting me. You know, keep supporting me. Better than MSG. I'm trying to get there, bro. Trying to get there. You know, trying to get there. But thank you guys for being here. I will see you on Sunday. All right. And have a good night. Try to stay warm. Stay safe out there. All right. I'm saying peace to y'all. If you like the show, make sure that you subscribe. Make sure you check out some of the other videos. And I'm going to talk to y'all later. Peace.